Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to give you my review of the new Godox AD200 Pro model. And so they have already previously released the AD200 before. This is the Pro model. And so today I'm going to be giving you a demonstration of how it works, showing you a lot of portraits taken with it, and also giving you some differentiation of what's changed since the AD200. Now, first of all, the AD series from Godox is not your typical mount on the flash hot shoe kind of flash unit. There is no hot shoe involved here, and so you're going to be controlling these units either via a sync cable or, like most of us are going to do, controlling it wirelessly via Godox's Wireless X 2.4 gigahertz wireless system. And so for myself, I prefer to use the X Pro transmitter, which you can mount onto the hot shoe on your camera, and it gives you control over a whole bunch of different groups of flash units, and so you can control them through that means. Now, you can, of course, use cables to connect here, but the Wireless X system is really fantastic because you can mix and match easily. It has a working range of 100 meters or over 320 feet, and so lots of room to play with, and so it makes it a really useful setup for that. So what you've got is a 200 watt light output here, a guide number of either 52 meters with the Fresnel lens, or if you're using the bare bulb option, which I'll demonstrate in just a moment, you get up to 60 meters. And so a lot of light output and an easy to use, reasonably priced, about $349 US, although you can get a little bit cheaper for a while. If you look down below and use a special code, you can get it for cheaper than that. But anyway, we're going to jump in first of all and look at what you're getting for that 350 bucks. Let's take a look. First of all, everything comes in a nice nylon hard case here. Got a place to attach it to something else. And of course a handle, so certainly makes things convenient. Looking inside, we've got a zip portion up here where I've got right now the power cable for the battery charger. Unfortunately, this is a proprietary battery and charger, and so anyway, but nice place to store it. Comes with the battery, which I have currently got in the flash itself, so we'll pop that out for a second and take a peek at it. And so as you can see, it is a substantial battery pack, 2900 mAh. And so anyway, easy obviously to pop out of there and to charge, and then just to put back into the side of the unit. First of all, however, let's look at other accessories that are included. What we have here is the flash mount that goes on a light stand. Now, what's nice is this is actually good grade materials. It's all metals here in construction, and so you've got the ability to to tighten down here on the actual the top of a light stand, which we'll demonstrate in just a moment. And you've got the ability to, without any kind of teeth, so it's not just ratcheting position, that you can just smoothly, and so you can rotate that at any place. You can lock that down. You'll see here that there is actually a slot for mounting an umbrella, and so very important for this. Now, nice thing about the way that this mounts, it's actually a really clean system. It relies on just two things. Obviously, you're going to tighten this down here, but then also it's got some notches. The nice thing about that is that it really helps, so you can quickly tighten it into place. But then as you start to get towards the end, those two notches help to provide a really secure attachment. The other option here is that you have two different configuration points. You can either mount it here so it's standing in a vertical position, or you can mount it here where it's in a horizontal position. It kind of depends on what you're doing, but I just like the fact you have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to using that. So of course the actual flash unit, they call this a pocket flash, but as you can see, it's a pretty big pocket. It is compact for the amount of light output that it has. But that's relative to the larger 400 or 600 units. And so just taking a quick look over here though, on the back of this you have the LCD screen, and so it has, if you're familiar at all with Godox's menu system, you should be quite at home here. It's pretty easy to figure all of this out, and you can just set things up there. It does have a modeling light It's just an on and off. It's unlike the V1. It's not like various steps, but there's enough there that you can get some modeling if you want to take a look at how the light pattern is falling. And so pretty simple and straightforward there. Obviously, here is the sensor if it's receiving like an optical signal from something else. You've got a couple of ports under here, and this will allow you to use either 3.5-inch sync, also a wireless connection cable, USB from another source if you wanted to do that. One final port here is a USB-C. This is for firmware updates. Now the other interesting thing here is that you have a couple of options. So up here you've got another kind of release mechanism that'll allow you to slide and pop off the Fresnel head, which is what comes attached. So your other option here is to go to the bare bulb output. And so the actual bare bulb assembly comes separate, but it's a pretty easy thing. There's just one that's smaller than the other. You obviously align that up and pop that in there. So once it's in, you have a tightening knob here, and that's just going to make sure that that all holds in there tight. You're going to need to loosen that obviously before you try to take it off again. You're going to just line it up with those holes and pop it into place. And now you have the bare bulb assembly, but you do get another 1/4-inch attachment point provided there. And so pretty straightforward, easy to change these out. And of course there are two other optional heads that you can get. And so those include a round head, and so you have a similar round type light spread like the V1 flash, and that's a popular option. Runs you about 80 bucks to switch to that. The other option you have is actually an LED head, and that LED has 6 LEDs, or 60 I should say LEDs, and it gives you a continuous light output. Not a ton of light, about 3.6 watts, and so not necessarily as popular as some of the other things, but it's not an expensive option, and if you're looking for something just to provide a little bit of fill light, just as a further option for that, that is something else you can reach for. Now, in terms of what differentiates the AD200 Pro versus the AD200, what I've been able to see is that there are some improvements to the actual flash holder. It's a little bit more sturdy and better built. There are slightly improved refresh cycle times, and so the upper limit of the AD200 model is 2.1 seconds. With the Pro model, it's 1.8, and so you're getting a faster recycle time. Another difference that is, I would say, arguably more important is that you have more finite control over the light output. And so instead of 8 stops, and so down to 1/128th, you have 9 stops, so down to 1/256th to 1:1, and so it gives you more finite control of the light output. So particularly if you're shooting in manual mode, you'll appreciate that. It also has slightly expanded flash duration options. You can go up to 1/15,380th of a second versus 1/13,000th on the older model. Furthermore, and probably most important for those of you that shoot with something outside of Canon, Nikon, and Sony, is that the AD200, its TTL system was compatible with Canon, Nikon, and Sony, whereas the Pro also adds to that Fujifilm, Pentax, and Panasonic. And so obviously a lot more versatility when it comes to the TTL that you can involve in using that. So as you can see, it's very nicely presented and packaged here, and it gives you, between the two different heads that come with it, and then of course you could add the round head for an even nicer distribution of light. But what you have here is the flexibility to shape light in a whole lot of different ways. Now for these portraits I'm going to show you here, I've used just this light in a variety of configurations. If I'm particularly using the Fresnel lens, I have added on a umbrella like this. So using the umbrella option obviously allows you to soften the light and have a more pleasing light pattern. Yet there's enough light output there that I was easily able to overpower the sun for these portraits, even though my subject was really strongly backlit, and so certainly useful for that. Now, while the total amount of light output is actually greater with the bare bulb, the distribution of the light is basically, kind of 360 degrees. It kind of just throws it out. And so it's not shaping or focusing the light down the same way that the Fresnel is. And so for example, in these scenes, I had less light at equal settings, at least directed on my subject. However, if I raise the ambient light up what you end up seeing here is a more natural, less strobed looking result. And so obviously this is great for lighting either a big group or creating a really kind of directionless kind of light if you're looking for a really natural kind of result. But of course, the flexibility means that I could hide this, for example, in this series, I could hide it down behind this boulder and then use the light to my benefit. Either I could go with a more subtle look by using the bare bulb configuration. Then I also switched over to the Fresnel lens, and I really kind of brought the ambient light down to really kind of play with the shadows and to give my subject a unique kind of illumination with a little bit more light. Now, the great thing about, you know, these configurations is I was actually a pretty fair distance from my subject when shooting these shots. And so, you know, I set up the flash one time, you know, hit it down where I wanted it to be. I could work then to get at an angle to where I made sure that the light was hidden in the shots. And I could just control the output from, you know, the X Pro here. And so get the exact amount of light that I wanted for the look. So at the end of the day, you really have a lot of creative options for shaping light with this. Now, I mean, obviously for some people working with a, you know, an on-camera flash or having that option is going to be important. Or if you have an on-camera flash and then you're using this in a slave mode, it's not going to be able to be used as a master for obvious reason that it can't attach to a hot shoe. However, if you're using a command unit, or if you're using another flash unit for that, the AD200 gives you a lot of light output, but also a lot of flexibility in using that light, particularly going to the bare bulb option and things like that. Beyond that, it's built-in lithium battery pack. It gives you over 500 fully charged pops. And so, you know, for most shooters that are not using at 100% output on every shot, you're going to be able to get, you know, kind of all-day shooting out of that. And the fact that this is all self-contained, you have no other power unit anywhere, a lot of power output. And so while I think calling it a pocket flash is, as you can see, I say that's kind of euphemistic. I'm saying that this is maybe a little big for what I would like to carry around in a pocket all day. But at the same time, it is a flexible light. It's well packaged, well presented, has good light output, and it has a reasonable price. And so, once again, I've come away impressed from another Godox product that I've spent a little time with. I'm Dustin Abbott, and if you'll look in the description down below, I will have a link there to my full written review so I can, you know, I kind of work through some of the scenarios and lighting setups a little bit there, so if you want to take a look at that. There's also some buying links if you'd like to purchase one for yourself, and for the next 3 months or so, there is a special code that's there that will allow you to get 20% off of either the AD200 Pro or the V1 a flash unit that I reviewed a month or so ago, and so take a look at there for that. Beyond that, there's links where you can follow me on social media, including now on Instagram, become a patron, and of course, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.